send them somewhere else. Because if I can't help them, and if they don't have the tools to help themselves within that time period, then I failed them.
Right.
And that philosophy goes with this too. People have to, if they use it regularly, it's just like exercise. Their brains will actually form new neural pathways that will change the way they process information. And, the sky's the limit. I'm not even sure the sky's the limit.
Right.
To be honest.
Right. It's amazing. I have another question on usage of these. I've had a lot of questions from people on different programs like this, and they ask whether they can listen to them at night as they go to sleep, and wondering if they fall asleep during the program and sleep through the night, if they're still getting benefit from them.
Sure. Well, Neural Synergy, the two main programs, I'm assuming, is what they're talking about. I'm assuming they're not talking about the freebie digital coffee, because they would want to have a coffee when they go to sleep.
Exactly.
Right. Neural Synergy, no problem.
Okay.
The second one, which is a dual brainwave stimulation program, it actually stimulates the right and left hemispheres with different frequencies, is not designed for people to sleep. However, everybody is different. If you notice, I would suggest people try the Eden Energy Wave Dynamic recording during the day.
Mm-hmm.
If they find that when it's finished, all they want to do is roll over and go to sleep, then sure, they can do that. But I wouldn't want to, tell someone go ahead and do it for sure, and then they can't sleep at night.
Okay.
So I don't want to ruin their night's sleep.
Great. Well, the other thing, now, currently brainwave entrainment is getting a lot of press lately, and I'm wondering if you can tell us with your program some of the benefits, and we've probably hit on a couple of these, but just go down and tell people what they can expect from the recordings.
Sure. All right. Well, Neural Synergy is the basic exercise recording. Okay. All right. That one is designed, it helps actually to release a specific hormone that scientists have discovered is necessary for memory formation.
Okay.
So if you want to learn something, that's a good program to use. It's very good for learning. It's good for meditation. It's good for straight relaxation. Keep in mind that whenever you use it, it's always going to be a situation where it's developing your brain.
Right.
Now, I just want to clarify something as well. You had mentioned before that, you can feel things right away. There are people who will never feel a thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're still getting the benefits.
Okay.
And if they use the program regularly, they'll notice in a month or two that things are different for them. But a lot of people, well, not a lot, but some people don't actually feel the tingling. They don't feel disassociated. They don't feel as part of the universe, or like they're floating. A lot of people do, but some people don't, and they think that means they're not getting any effects. That isn't the case. They are getting effects. As long as you do this, it's like exercise. If you're 200 pounds, 5'9", sitting on the couch watching football every single night, you're not going to be in very good shape. If you decide to go to a health club tomorrow and you have a really good workout for a couple hours and you come home, you don't expect to go to the mirror and see yourself looking like Charles Atlas.
Right.
Or Superman. Let's bring it up to date here. Like Superman. You expect that you have to do this on a regular basis to get to where you want to be, and then once you're there, you have to do it on a regular basis in order to maintain it.
Great.
This program is designed as a workout for the brain. It needs to be done on a regular basis.
Okay. So bottom
line,
line,
its best effects.
So the people just need to stick with it.
Yeah, and it's quite pleasant. Who doesn't want to have a good excuse to lie down for 30 minutes?
And everybody needs it. If they can't find a good excuse, you need to find one because it's needed.
Oh, it definitely is. And with the fact that we have 12 different choices for each of the first two programs,
right,
that gives you the opportunity to not only pick what sounds the best for you, and that's really all you need to know. Whichever one sounds the best to you is the one you use in each of the two modules, the first two modules. And I give 6 choices of pitch along with 2 choices of stimulation patterns because, once again, different people are going to like different things. And if you give people the choice, instead of going into a shoe store and, let me use this as an example. Back when Ford started up, they had the Model T. And their ad was, available in any color you want as long as it's black. Okay? This is what everybody else is doing, even with the binaurals.
Yes.
Okay? You want a relaxation CD? Here it is. Download it. It's the same thing for everybody.
Right.
If you enjoy the tones, or at least if they're more to your level of enjoyment, you will get a better brainwave entrainment because you're not fighting the tones. It's not like, ooh, this is too high-pitched for me, it's distracting me.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is too low-pitched for me, it's distracting me. Giving people the choice might be a little confusing for them because it's new and nobody else has ever done this, but I believe it's important, and it's my goal, believe it or not, to bring this technology into every household. I want to make it mainstream. It can do that much good. And if it's mainstream, think of all the medications and everything people are taking now that they won't have to take as long as they're more relaxed and less stressed. The American Medical Association, if you go on their website and check out what they have to say, even says that a very high percentage of all illness is related to stress.
Right.
Stress relief is just one of the many, many benefits. There's learning, retention, understanding, cognition, the ability to logic and figure situations, people, circumstances, and problems out. Everything gets easier. When your sleep is better, your body heals better. That's where most of the healing occurs, when you're in delta.
Right.
Like physical healing occurs in delta. If you're sleeping and you're not achieving a delta state, you're not getting the quality of healing that your body needs. So you can almost say anything. Depending on the person, you'll find one person who gets this benefit, another person who gets this benefit. Some people will become more confident with people.
Well, and I guess when you're talking, I mean, this is affecting your brain, and
Yes.
we all know that the mind-body connection. I mean, your brain, and it controls your life. And
it certainly does. And you know what? A lot of what we do is based on who we were when we were like 5 and 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We learn a lot of lessons then, and we don't understand. We figure we're adults now. We're not children anymore, but we don't understand that a lot of our decisions are made from being the child that's still alive within us.
Yes. Yes. I can see it in everyday life with me too. Some of the decisions you make, and you think back, why
did I do that?
Right. Why did I handle it that way? And,
sure.
It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that this is suddenly going to make you Einstein.
Right.
But it's going to give you the best potential to be your best. If I might steal a line similar to the American military, be your best and be all you can be. It gives you that opportunity because, think about it, you have your car, which runs on an alternator, electrically. If you add more components to that alternator, you're putting more stress on it, right? And it has less power for its normal functions.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, if you add enough electronics to it, your alternator will no longer be able to support the basic functions of the car.
Right.
Look at your brain and your stress levels as having exactly that effect on your overall energy levels. So without realizing it, we are using up a lot of our personal energy and intellectual, mental, emotional energies just to support ourselves, to keep us floating through the stress and everything else that's going on in our lives. If you suddenly free up all that energy, you think of it as this, where's all this energy coming from? Well, it's actually always been there.
Yes.
It's just you're no longer using it to try to keep you alive.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's there, and you can use it how you choose to use it. You can become more creative. You can become funnier. You can become more open. Your reading skills can improve. Your learning skills can improve. Your sleep improves. Your ability to hold a conversation improves. Your general satisfaction with life improves, because one of my personal beliefs, and I have no evidence for this, but my personal belief is that everybody has good fortune flying by their face every day.
Yes.
If you're not looking for it, though, you're not going to see it. And my personal evidence for this is, what kind of car do you own, Mark?
A Nissan Sentra.
Beautiful. Before you bought the Nissan Sentra, and then after you bought the Nissan Sentra, when would you say you noticed a lot of Nissan Sentras on the road?
Oh, yeah. Once I bought it,
That's
saw
right.
it everywhere.
Before that, it was like, where are they? You never paid any attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same idea here. You don't realize that these opportunities are right in front of your face. Just like at the time before you bought your Sentra, you didn't know that there were a million Nissan Sentras on the road.
Right.
So it's a little abstract, but this is how I came to that conclusion. This technology, like any kind of meditation, really helps for all of these things. The beauty of what I did is that, if I could toot my own horn a little, is that, quite frankly, I'm lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I am supremely lazy. So I had to design something where I wouldn't have to do anything except listen.
And that's great, because that's what people need. And after you listen, then you can redirect your energy. And
sure.
Lazy in that now all of a sudden you've got this energy to use and channel towards your desires and what you choose to do.
Sure, and you know what a beautiful thing is? You don't even have to make the energy to choose to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens.
Right.
Much like this woman who suddenly realized, what am I doing? You just do it. And then you see it after the fact, or during, in the middle. You go, wow, I'm not usually like this, but here I am.
It's like you release an inner knowing.
Yes, you see, that's one of the basics of my own philosophy. I believe that you, Mark, me, Maury, Joe, Bill, Sue, Bob, and every other name that's out there that might be listening to this, we all know exactly what's right for us.
Yeah.
And we all know exactly how to achieve that. It's just we don't have the opportunity to discover or release these energies because, as I said before, they're all tied up doing other things. We're all way too distracted by paying our bills.
Exactly.
How am I going to make my bills? You don't even want to hear what my life's been like financially for the last few years. You don't even want to know. So I can relate to anybody out there who doesn't know where they're going to live next month because they're not sure they can make the rent.
Mm-hmm.
I can completely relate to that.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, even those people, just like anyone listening who might be worth $1 billion, can still be happier, more content. And you know what? There's nothing that beats that feeling of satisfaction in life. And I'm actually getting to that point now. Since the quantum mind power system was released, it was actually ready about a month or two before that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been using it regularly. As a matter of fact, the RAIN program for Wealth and Prosperity is playing in the background right now while we're talking. And I created this thing, and I can't even believe. Now, I mean, I know it sounds silly, me giving a testimonial for my own product. Okay, my name is different. Let's call me Harry Fontana.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I'm just so passionate about this, and I got to tell you, when I read these, I never realized how emotional I was.
Mm-hmm.
But when I read some of these testimonials, especially if I'm reading them out loud for a friend or one of my parents, it is funny that I have to hold on a second because I'm choking up.
Yeah.
I'm in this to help people, and all I want to do is help people. And that's all I've ever wanted to do. I used to dream that I had superpowers so I could help people.
Yeah. Well, and this is the power in these type of recordings is just amazing. And like you said, the testimonials you received proves that. And
well, I certainly appreciate that, and you're from your mouth to God's ears.
Right.
I just hope that most people don't mistake this for the same old that's out there. Everybody in the universe says their program is the program. You see, I have a little bit of a problem with people who come up with, a new book every year on how to improve yourself.
Yeah.
If they knew how to help me improve myself, why do they have to write 12 books?
Right.
This program will evolve as far as when I learn how to do things better, I will improve the individual recordings with the knowledge I get. But quantum mind power is the last thing I'm ever going to use.
Right.
I don't have to buy another book. I don't have to buy another set of recordings. I don't have to do any of that.
Right. Well, and that's why I like to, try everything out there, because there's a lot of stuff out there, and not all of it is junk.
I have news for you. Most of it is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Not only can you say not all of it is junk, most of it is excellent.
Right.
But again, the problem comes from people buying a book with lots of good knowledge in it, lots of great information. They're all hyped up, they're all excited, but eventually you hit the last page of the book. The minute that happens, people have that drop-off. That's one of the reasons why I created Eden Energy Wave Dynamics. That actually gets you remotivated so that you don't experience the drop-off.
Yeah, and that is awesome because I think I read a study once where you had a study on participants in seminars and how they took a survey at the end of the seminar and everybody's pumped up and ready to go, and a month later it's gone, the hype's gone, they just don't feel it. And
that is correct. And that was the biggest problem. If I'm going to create something that's supposed to help people, it's not helping you if it's only going to help you for a week.
Right. What I see this is something where you can go to that seminar now. You can get all the valuable information they have, and by using the quantum mind power system, you can keep that energy level up about it and move forward.
And you know what else?
Action.
You can reread all the materials that you got from it while you're listening, and you don't need headphones again. To, for instance, the neural synergy, and you will retain more, and you'll understand more.
Yes, and I do that all the time. I did it before with binaural programs, alpha level, and I've started using the quantum mind power system for that because when I'm sitting at the computer and working, I either have the subliminal program going or the neural synergy, depending on my level of focus that I need.
Right. So, well, I want to point something out here too. I am not bad-mouthing binaural technology.
Right.
And I'm not bad-mouthing the people who create binaural technology. Quite frankly, without places like Centerpoint Research, I probably never would have been able to develop what I developed. I am actually indebted to these guys.
Right. And exactly, those programs have helped a lot of people too.
Oh, they have. And you know what? I can't reach everybody anyway. If we have a bunch of people out there with programs that will help people, I'm a bit of an idealist, and I've always been an idealist, and I believe that we can have heaven on earth.
Yes.
And frankly, if Centerpoint or if some other, man or woman or corporation can come out with something that doesn't bleed people dry financially to experience similar effects and positive benefits in their lives, I am all for it because I can't reach everybody. And there will be some people. I have a friend of mine, for instance. Her name is Bev, one of the sweetest ladies I know. She can't use my technology.
Oh, okay.
It just annoys her. Like the beats, she doesn't like hearing a beat. Like she listens to it for 10 seconds and it's enough. I can't listen to this. And there will be some people like that. There are two things that I've discovered in my life that are good for everybody. Water and air.
Yes.
Okay? So that's why we offer an 8-week money back as well, and the money's given back.
Right.
We only want to help you. If we're not helping you, then I don't want to keep your money.
Right, and I think that's the quantum mind power system I've found has just been just so powerful for me. But like you said, if there's somebody who doesn't like it, they have a chance to try it without any risk of losing their money. And I hope everybody gives it a try because if they do it and they keep with it, like I say, I've had it for a week now, and I've been using it every day, and I like it. I like the way it just makes me feel, and I like it.
Try using it with other things too. Like if you have other things, like if you're reading books, or even if you have other like let's say you do yoga, or even working out. Yeah. Well, and
that's a good point. I do. I practice qigong,
very nice.
And again, when I did that, I either listened to some new age music or some binaurals, but I definitely am going to give it a try. You think the neural synergy?
Oh yeah.
Would be good. Okay. Neural
synergy would be fantastic for that.
Okay, excellent. Well,
absolutely fantastic.
Now, I want to make sure everybody realizes what the different components. We've got the neural synergy component that we just been talking about. We touched on the Eden energy wave dynamics component.
Now that one also is that one is designed as being a break from neural synergy if you're a little bored running neural synergy every day.
Okay.
So it gives you a break. It works the brain in a different fashion. Because let's face it, hemispheric synchronization is great, and it is. But if you go to a club, are you just going to exercise your arms or your upper chest?
Right.
Right? So you want to be able to exercise other aspects of the mind as well. There are plenty of functions that require you to be using your right and left brain hemispheres separately. And actually having them synchronized for these events would not be beneficial to you. So it helps with that, but more so, it was designed on a bunch of research that I had been following for the last 10 years from a company called Mind Alive. That's who Comptronic Devices, who I mentioned earlier, has now become, the light and sound people.
Okay.
That actually it's designed to quiet the voices in your head that are giving you, oh, you can't do this, forget it, you're a loser, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it gives you an injection of energy.
Okay.
So if people are even, we have a testimonial up on our site from a gentleman who was depressed. And he tried our system, and he tried the neural synergy first, and it didn't work for him. It actually kept him awake at night. And when I sent him you see, we have a little questionnaire that we send out to people who have certain effects that happen to them. Because of his depression, the neural synergy was bringing his brain waves lower, which you don't really want when someone's depressed.
Okay.
So I asked him to run the Eden Energy Wave Dynamics until his depression lifted, and then he could use the program normally. He did that, and 2 days later his depression had lifted. Now, I'm not sure that his depression would have been a clinical depression, or even at what level, but it's enough to me that he described it to me as depression.
Right.
And that's the big thing. Everything is exciting and fantastic in the beginning, but you need to have some way to maintain a clarity of thought, some way that will give you that energy you need when you don't really feel like you have it. And that's what the Eden Energy Wave Dynamics does. It gives you, what it does is it frees up energy you're using in a non-beneficial manner, so that it's available for you to use towards your goal, which is to feel better, get more work done, make less mistakes, whatever that goal may be.
Right. That's a great one. I like that one too.
Yeah, that's one of my. I mean, they're all my favorites, depending on what mood I'm in. I even like the Digital Coffee freebie download.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're all very good.
Well, thank you.
Now we've got. Then you also have the whole brain gratitude meditation.
Yes.
Which actually has a verbal part to it.
Certainly. What we do is one of my belief systems as well, and it's shared by many self-improvement people around there, is that gratitude is key.
Right.
If you're not grateful for what you have, even if it's just a little bit, then you're not grateful for anything. And if you're not grateful for anything, it keeps you in that. It's kind of like a rut.
Yeah.
So the whole brain, or as a lot of people call it, the whole grain, like bread, gratitude meditation, is designed to teach you gratitude, to open your eyes up to things you can be grateful for. There's even a segment in there that tells you to be grateful to people who screw you.
Yeah.
Even the people who hate you and treat you like dirt, these people actually teach you more than anybody else does, and you need to be grateful for them, even if they try to hurt you and annoy you and whatever else they do to make your life what you think as miserable.
Right.
It also has a background brainwave beat in there as well, and that's designed to help you to incorporate it, because there are some points in here that people will always have an excuse for not believing.
Right.
And with the brainwave beat in there, it softens the voices in your head. It doesn't entrain you the way the first two recordings do. But it's just a very subtle effect, and it's designed to be that way. You see, when you add music and noises and voices to brainwave entrainment, you're actually getting in the way of entraining the brain. However, in this case, we don't want you to be completely entrained. We just want a nice, subtle relaxation to be created through a very mild entrainment. So that's why we have the beats in the background, the voices in the foreground. We do have pauses in between as well, where I ask people to, now please imagine this or think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And we experienced a bit of a problem the first couple of test recordings I made, because when you're listening to the voice and then it stops, and you're listening to 30 seconds of the subtle brainwave tones, you actually get a little more entrained. And then when the voice starts up again, because voices don't ramp up, they go, hi, right? That's sudden. Well, I can't tell you how many pairs of underwear I lost to this test. Because I'm sitting there for 30 seconds, oh, this feels nice, oh, this feels nice, and then my voice comes on, it's like, whoa!
It scares you.
It scared the crap out of me, literally. So I designed something, a little drone, actually, which is designed to act as an anti-startle effect. It starts off at nothing. It ramps up in volume for 3 or 4 seconds, and it matches the introductory volume of the voice when it comes back. So people don't freak out. They don't get scared. This little drone almost puts you hypnotically even into a more receptive state, which was a happy mistake.
Yeah, and I noticed that.
I didn't plan that. It was a happy mistake.
Your brain's like saying, okay, now something is coming for me to absorb.
Yeah, exactly. So now we need to bring you back a little bit. While you've processed what you've processed, now it's time to bring you back a little. And then we end all of these recordings with the verbal recordings with 10 or 15 minutes of just the subtle brainwave frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that is designed to embed everything.
Yes.
You're not having to go back to work right away. You're not having to jump on the computer or watch TV or answer the phone. And it gives all of this, the previous 15 minutes an opportunity to really lock in, and find its home in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of be a seed that you plant.
Right. And then we've got the whole grain gratitude meditation, and then the emotive brainwave hypnosis.
Right. Now that one is technically the same as the whole brain gratitude, so I won't get into it technically, but from a psychological standpoint, it is designed to help people deal with the input and output of emotional energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, fantastically wonderful things don't make you get so high that, you pass out, and horrible things don't make you get so low that you're in a horrible depression. It's designed to normalize your reactions, give you a better understanding of what your emotions are all about. And generally, emotions are really nature's way of telling you that you're doing the right thing or you're doing the wrong thing. If you're emotionally distraught, then that's a signal that you're doing things wrong, and you need to change what you're doing. And when your emotions are strong and good, that's a sign that you're doing the right thing. Just like if I'm happy, that's a sign I'm doing the right thing. It's nature's way of telling me I'm doing the right thing, because I feel good and I'm healthy and I'm happy. Right. If I don't feel good and I'm not happy, that's nature's way of telling me, Maury, you have to do something different here. What you're doing right now isn't working for you, and I'm letting you know by the fact that you're not happy, that you're sad, that you don't feel good. That is a feeling. It's a signal. It's like a warning saying, okay, time to take a few deep breaths, step back, and look at what I'm doing and find out why I'm doing it, why I should be doing something else. And that's what the emotive hypnosis is designed for.
And that's a great one. I just found with manifestation of your desires, a lot of problems that people experience when they're read about the universal laws of manifesting is keeping those negative thoughts out, but also keeping an emotional balance.
Oh, definitely. And you know what? A couple of years in Toronto, which is the other side of the lake from Buffalo in Canada. And a few years back, you may or may not remember, and the people listening to this may or may not remember, the SARS epidemic.
Yes.
Right. And I was watching CNN, and they had all kinds of stuff about how Toronto's under siege. Pardon me. They showed images of people wearing masks everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
These images were actually taken outside of hospitals, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I was walking around, everybody's acting like there's nothing going on. As a matter of fact, the regular flu kills more people every year than SARS even came close to doing. Right. But you never actually heard that on the news. So there's a lot of stress that we're being given. At that point, I realized that, when you watch a few TV shows with the special effects, as far as I'm concerned, news is nothing more than another TV show or radio show or book in newspaper form. I stopped listening. I don't follow it anymore. Anything that I need to know about somehow finds its way to me anyway. And that will help to uplift your spirits. Like, look, even if you don't want to buy my system, stop listening to the news, stop reading the news, and stop watching the news. And I would be very surprised if your overall mood and energy level wasn't better just by doing that, like within a few weeks.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I think it's all made up anyway. Ever since that CNN story, and then I wrote them an email saying, what are you talking about? I live in Toronto. I'm out every day. I don't see any of this. Our city is vibrant. All you guys are doing is killing our tourism. And they never wrote me back.
Yeah. I agree with you 100% on that note.
You know, a little freebie. And another little freebie I want to give to your listeners here. White candles. Just regular white candles. Go to the dollar store and buy them.
Okay.
Light them, put them on a table, turn out the lights, just stare at the flame for 5 minutes. Every day. You will notice a big difference in your life just from doing that.
Interesting, okay.
Yep, because you're focusing, you will see things in the flame, your mind will wander. Let it wander. If things come up that you don't want to think about, just think to yourself, right now I'm watching the flame. I'll think about you later. And go back to concentrating on the flame.
Interesting, okay.
5 minutes a day, people will see a difference in themselves.
Awesome.
Sure. Well, these are all things I did to keep myself alive until I could develop quantum mind power. So.
Well, it just takes those something as simple as that sometimes can turn around everything for somebody.
We are taught in this world that everything that causes change, positive or negative, requires intense effort, expertise, education, chemicals, radiation, cutting, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is we are taught that everything is complicated.
Right.
And yet, nothing really seems to work. And with that philosophy, very few of us are actually happy. I believe that when you try to find a solution for a problem that doesn't exist, you're never going to solve the problem.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. We're obviously thinking the problem is one thing when it really isn't. I believe everything is very simple. And I think the solutions are very simple, too. And how much more simple can you get than da, 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 da?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. A lot of times, the solution to that non-existent problem is right in front of your face. And if you stop looking for that solution, it becomes quite apparent to you. And the solution, obviously, is that there isn't a problem in the first place.
That's right. Well, look, everyone's told when you're a child, you know, when I was 16 years old, I was told the same thing. By the time you're 30 or so, you'll probably have a couple of kids. You'll have a house or a condominium, a car or two, a wife, obviously, or a husband. You know, especially in Canada, because, you know, we have a lot of things legal here that aren't legal there, like all kinds of different marriages, people and animals, and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
But, well, actually not. I don't want to give people the wrong impression here. But what happens is we're just told a lot of things as the truth that really aren't the truth. And I believe the truth for everybody is different, and I believe everybody knows instinctively what their truth is. And when you start hunting for that wife or husband and the 2 kids and the white picket fence, you know, and the little dog and the little cat and the little bird and all these things, and when you get all this stuff and you're still not happy, it's a massive letdown.
Yeah.
Now, these things are nice, don't get me wrong. Families are wonderful. Children are wonderful. Animals are wonderful. Homes are wonderful. Cars are wonderful. All these things are wonderful. But they're not what's going to make you happy. You know, and you need to find that key to what's going to make you happy. And if you understand that looking within is where the answer is, because I think everybody looks without.
Of course.
They're looking outside of themselves, and that's why they can't find their answers.
Of course.
With this kind of a program, or someone who wants to practice for hours and hours every day and meditate, they have more likelihood of discovering what will make them happy.
Yes, you loosen that conscious control of your life, and you find things just coming to you. Yeah, almost magically, actually. Right. Out of nowhere, like literally, like, you know, David Blaine, snap your fingers and whoa. Yeah. You unleash the intuitive self.
Yeah, and every single person in the world, every single person in the planet, I don't care if you've never gone to school a day in your life. I don't care if you're a PhD in 12 different disciplines. Every single person has that ability within them, and they all have the answers. Why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
You're here to do something.
Right.
You're not here to suffer. You're not here to cry. I don't believe that you suffer here and then you get your reward in heaven.
Correct.
I mean, you may get a reward in heaven, but I don't believe that you have to suffer here in order to get it.
Right.
I think that we're supposed to be happy all the time. I mean all the time. Not 1 second of anybody's life should be sad or upset.
I agree. I'm still working towards that.
We all are, and that's the beautiful thing of the human condition. Because you know what? In a while, I can't tell you how long, but I bet you someone comes along and improves upon what I did. And I can only hope that that happens.
Yes.
Because we are all part of the same being, ultimately, and if I hurt you, I'm hurting myself just as much.
Right.
And I don't know everything, so much like a parent wants the child to do just a little bit better than they did, and live a little bit easier, you can call this quantum mind power my child. I'm not married and I have no children of my own. But you can consider this program my child. And it's my desire that by developing this and by raising the bar by offering choices and using different technologies, that somebody builds off of what I've done to make something even better.
Right.
That's what ultimately that's what I'd like to see. Hopefully in my lifetime I'll be able to open up a book or go on a website or something and download something and go, all right, Joe Blow in Cincinnati did exactly what I wanted. He took, my basic ideas and then he turned around and made them so much better. That's where the Mori method comes in with mine. There are certain things that I can't say. Because I don't want to give away the secret. There's too many knockoff and rip-off artists out there. These programs, even though they sound pretty simple, blah, 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 they really aren't. And you have to know how to arrange the beats, and you have to know what to do. It's not enough just to lay out a series of beats, and here you go, here's brainwave entrainment.
Yes,
you really
I
have
know.
to do more. And my background, you may have noticed there's a background in most of the recordings, kind of like a shh.
Yes.
Well, that's actually layered individual frequencies, hundreds of them. And unlike pink noise or white noise or brown noise, it actually is harmonically related. So I had to make them subtly different for each recording so that it actually helps the entrainment along. It works with the entrainment. So our background noises don't get in the way of the entrainment. It's almost like an outstretched arm to help lead you into the entrainment and then through it. And the added bonus is any little like knocks or clicks or ringing or whatever that goes on in the background in your home or your office, wherever you may be, on a bus, on an airplane. These things become more of the program rather than a distraction that takes you away from your reverie.
Right. Okay.
Sorry, I get a little emotional when I talk about this stuff because you just don't know how bad my life was. Now, understand, all my own doing. I have like the best parents, best friends, best girlfriends. God, I don't know how they put up with me all those years. But, it was all me. It wasn't anybody else. And I guess really the changes started happening for me when I finally realized that, if I blame myself for this stuff, then I know I made my bed. I also know I can make it differently. So you actually get power when you admit that this is my doing, rather than me blaming you.
Yes, wallowing in blame of other people gets you nowhere.
No, it doesn't, and it's not even true.
That's the fact. That is the fact. It's not even true.
That's right. It's not even close to being true. Then we have after that we have the 2 subliminal bonuses.
Yes.
Which are designed to be played anytime you remember to, you have time to, you're cleaning the house, you're watching TV, reading a book, whatever. They're working on a subliminal level to, again, instill positive ways of thinking. For instance, the wealth and prosperity is designed to give you a better understanding of wealthy people. Do you know that I used to drive around the city and I'd see people in a Rolls Royce or in a Mercedes or a BMW, And I'd think, what an a-hole.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Okay, you have to be an a-hole. My constant thought was this: how many lives did you have to ruin or step on to get this car?
Yeah.
And you know what my dad told me the other day? He said, Maury, why don't you look at it this way instead? How many jobs are created because this guy's making the money to afford this car?
That's right.
You know, we sabotage ourselves on a regular basis, and I thought I'm being noble.
Well, exactly.
I thought I'm being a sweetheart here. Oh, what an idiot I was. Well, I'm not an idiot. I didn't know better. Now I know better.
Right. There's enough abundance for everybody, and just because somebody is...
good for them. It
exactly.
shows you it can be done.
Exactly.
Right?
You know, because it's always one of those things, you're angry at the rich people unless you're one of them.
Well, you know what? I'm not angry at them anymore. And believe me, I'm far from rich. I'm still very much in debt. But things have been happening, you know, with this and other things I'm involved with, like in personal life and whatever, that are leading me to believe that all of this is coming to an end. And I am going to be in a position where I can turn around and help a lot of people, not just with my programs, but just help a lot of people. You know, I want to be in a position where I can donate a lot of money to charities.
Exactly, and
to relief funds. And what about families? You know, Toronto is a city, much like many American cities, where we get a lot of immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people just like me and you, just because they're from Somalia or Egypt or you know, Iran or Iraq. I mean, you know, it's the politicians that are the idiots. It's not the people. The people are innocent victims here. They're like innocent children being dragged along for the ride. And, you know, these people come to this country for the hope of something better, and they have it so tough to start with. Wouldn't it make most everyone feel terrific if you could turn around to a family that just got here, here's $10,000 in a car.
Exactly.
Here's a start for you. You have 3 months now where you can live comfortably and go look for work.
Yeah.
To support your family. Wouldn't that just make your day if you could do that?
Exactly. And
I want to talk to you right after I do that the first time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because that's always been a dream of mine, and I want to do it without them knowing it's me either.
Exactly. Exactly. And I remember when we were kids, we had a family in our town that, you know, had it hard off. The dad was out of work, and I remember at Christmas time, that's where my parents would they'd give them, you know, a couple $1,000 so that they could
very generous.
Buy presents for their kids. You know, we were always lucky. My family was well off. Mm-hmm.
But you guys obviously were grateful, too.
Right.
For your wealth. And that's a trick. You need to be grateful for it. And part of being grateful is allowing other people to get a little joy from it, too.
Exactly. And not worrying about being wealthy. Because the abundance is there, and just understanding that it's going to be there when you need it, and giving freely. There's so much information.
I know we could talk for 6 months.
Yeah, and it's I think that the wealth and prosperity support is great, but I think that people should definitely, if they're interested, check out some other resources on universal law, because it will make this so much more powerful for them. Understanding is one of the best things you can have. That's why we've kind of inundated people with a 28-page, it's one long page. If you print it out, I think it's 28 or 30 pages. Yeah. You know, that's why we give people a lot of information. Some people aren't going to know or care. Mm-hmm. You know, they just see it's there and figure, okay, it's based on science. I don't need to know what the science is. Right. You know, but other people will need to have the confidence of knowing that this is not witchcraft. This is not BS. This is not, you know, something against God or government. This is not mind control. This is just bringing your mind into a peak performance state where it can operate the way nature intended it to. And I'm sure we could, like you said, we could talk for hours, because it's a subject we're both passionate about and could go on and on about. But I do think in this hour and 5 minutes, that we've covered a lot of information that will, I hope, help people decide to give this a try. And I want people to know that, try it. There's an 8-week money-back guarantee, and I think you're like me. I want people to try it. Give it a try, and I think once they find out how powerful it is, how useful it is in their lives, that's going to be it.
Well, I certainly appreciate the opportunity that you've given me to tell my story and a little bit about what I'm about and what Song and I are doing. And if we can help any of your listeners, and if this call has helped them to maybe have a subtly different understanding of what life is, or inspired them to think even better, then I'm on the right track. And I'll tell you what, I'll make an arrangement with Song as well, even though our launch period is over in a day or two. I will make an arrangement with Song that anyone from your site, from your list, if they use the keyword Maury Z,
okay,
in an email communication with me, and they can email me at support, SUPPORT, at Quantum, QUAN as in Nancy, TU as in underwear, M as in Mary, dash mind, MIND, dash power.com. And if they put Maury Z in the subject line, I'll see to it that they get a free copy. That's assuming they get to us too late to get it now. I'll see to it that they get a free copy of Digital Coffee.
Excellent.
And they can keep that and test it and decide if they think the rest of the system is worthwhile based on that.
Great. Well, I'll make sure to put all the information on the page that the interview's up on, so that it's easy access for them. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate, I appreciate your time, and you obviously care about people, and I love that. There aren't enough of you in this world, but the number's growing, so we should all be positive.
Yes, and hopefully the more people that listen to the system, I think that will help in and of itself. Once people discover themselves,
that's it. And we all have the power. We all have the power to be happy and content. No matter what our situation is, believe me, no matter what your situation is, you do have the power.
Yes, great. Well, Maury, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. It was a real pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
Great, you too.
Thanks.